A new Dragon Quest title has been confirmed, and finding sniper scopes at the local abandoned Starbucks. It's time to have a discussion this week at the Thirsty Mage.
Hello and welcome to This Week at the Thirsty Mage. I'm your host, Casey Gibson, and joining me is the man who's about to challenge Sam Guavine to a drinking contest once this is all over. That's right, Thirsty Mage co-host, Mr. David Lloyd.
Yeah, well, the trick to winning a drinking contest with Sam is to make sure you fill up on poutine so you can soak up that alcohol, you know?
Oh, dude, poutine is so good. I am so jealous of you Canadians that have it. From what I gather, available all over the place down here. It's more, pick and find a place, but there was a place with a duck poutine. Woo!
It's about as available as donuts where I'm living, so...
I was going to say, there'd be no contest after eating that duck poutine. I'd just be on the couch sleeping.
Yes.
But I think we're going to kick this off a little bit. We're sort of playing with the format. We're going to kick it off with a very quick what we've been playing this week. Then we're going to get into some news bits. And then, at the end, we're going to go over some new releases coming out. And there are a bunch to touch on. So I think we're just going to get right on into it. For me, this week, I've been playing Tales of Vesperia. I started it last week at some point, so, you know, I'm not terribly far in, but I am definitely enjoying it. It was on sale. It might still be on sale on the Switch, down to like $20, down from $50. So if you have interest, definitely worth checking out. I'm really loving the characters and the character interaction so far, and the battle system, it's not too bad either. You can tell it's a little dated, but it's still a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying myself. But I want to know, David, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing Final Fantasy VI on my SNES Mini. We've got the big podcast that we're recording for the Thirsty Mage RPG podcast, which you can pick up on podcast player of choice.
And podcatchers?
The old podcatchers. And so I'm having a great old time with that. I just got the band back together in the World of Ruin, and I'm it's again one of the best RPGs ever made, and it's still standing up today. So
I feel like I heard everyone saying for shame in my head, because I was supposed to be playing that too, and it fell to the wayside. It's so weird. It's like Chrono Trigger, man. It took me forever to actually, like, I played it a bunch of times to get through it finally, and then it's like one of my favorite games of all time. I know that's the case for Final Fantasy VI. I just need to get there, and it's so frustrating. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing you boys talk about that. Although if there's too many spoilers, I might have to wait a little bit. But...
Get you pumped up for that replay.
Yeah. But we're going to get into some big news topics that have dropped this week. It's funny, last week we were thinking, oh man, I don't know what we're going to talk about news-wise, and then all of a sudden the gaming gods said, well, Casey, David, don't you guys worry, we got you covered with two pretty big bangers here. So
big for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, the first starting off here is The Last of Us 2 State of Play from Sony. Came out actually earlier today as of recording. And it's about 20 or so minutes of, they sort of highlight some different aspects of the game, and then they give you like a nice big fat chunk at the end of just straight gameplay of Ellie going through and interacting with people. So, I mean, really cool. It's looking, did we, I know the date. It's June...
19th? 16th?
19th. Yeah, 19th. It's the 19th. Yep. June 19th, which is crazy because that's just right around the corner. But what jumped off the page to you most, David?
The two things that jumped off for me was, one was the big, beautiful areas to explore. In particular, they had mentioned that they were basing it on Seattle, that you could actually walk through Seattle, and they're trying to keep a realism there. So I think it'd be pretty neat in 2020 to be pulling out atlases, paper-based atlases for a walkthrough of a new video game. I think that would be pretty cool.
It reminds me of Shin Megami Tensei 4, when you had to sort of look at a real-life Japanese map to sort of see where you're going. Yeah,
you'll be calling me up to wonder where the sniper scope is, and I'll be like, it's at the old Starbucks on 4th and Main.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get Jordan. I think Jordan's been to Seattle, right? I mean, he's it's a quick little trip. So if not, we're gonna have to send them to see how realistic the game actually turned out to be.
Yeah, and speaking of the sniper scope, the other part that was exciting to me was the crafting system. I thought it was pretty neat. She pulled out the rifle and she was attaching a sniper scope on, and just to see the different things you can make. And yeah, I just think that I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that crafting system. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I believe, now it's been a hot minute since I played the first Last of Us, and there was crafting in that game, but it was more relegated to smaller things, like sort of like consumable items. I don't know if you could, like you said, like put the big scope on. I think that's brand new, and I really liked how they said like it's going to be part of your character, all the visual adjustments to those guns you will see in real time. So for me, I mean, visually the game looks stunning, right? I mean, if you think about it, it's the culmination of the PS4 era, and it's funny because The Last of Us, the first one, was sort of the culmination of the PS3. So it's sort of funny how it's like it takes all generation for these games to come out. But usually, or I mean, at least in the first instance, it was definitely worth the wait. So visuals look amazing. And I think it's sort of just a combination of the brutality of the game and the tension, and how those two sort of look like they're going to play together, right? Obviously, they're talking about stealth environments and working your way through, but just some of the, like, that obviously some people will dislike it for this, but like the stab, like the necks slashing and yeah. All of this brutalness, and the one character clip the wings and they hold the girl down and it looks like they're going to smash her arms with a big hammer, and it's brutal, and I think that really sets the groundwork of how the world and everyone interacts, because to me, the coolest thing about The Last of Us isn't necessarily like the zombies and stuff. It's how you interact with the other characters, because post-apocalyptic, there's different groups and different people focusing on different things they want, and I love how it all comes together. And lastly, just the melee battles look really improved and sort of like almost like a synchronized dance where you need to learn the steps to avoid something to actually, successfully take down enemies. So I don't have a PS4 at the moment, so I look forward to playing this on PS5, whether it's backwards compatible or a re-release of some sort, similar to how I played The Last of Us, the first one on the PS4. But I think this one's going to... it looks good, and I think it's going to score well, and I think people are going to really like it.
You're going to have to live vicariously through me, I guess, when I'm putting swords through people's chests and slicing throats.
Cutting esophaguses open and stuff,
That's right. Yeah. Curb stomping.
Well, what else did we have, David? There was another big announcement. You sent me this earlier today, and this one seems, to me at least, completely out of the blue. I guess I don't know if I don't have my nose to the ground, but it definitely seemed like out of the woodwork here.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I saw the announcement and I thought of you right off the bat. It's a new Dragon Quest. It's called... yeah, that's right. Dragon Quest, The Adventures of Dai, I think is how to pronounce it. Day or Die. And...
Yeah, Dai, yeah.
Dai, yeah. And, I'm not aware... Like, I'm a Dragon Quest fan and I enjoy the mainline games, but I was not aware of this. This is like a spin-off from... I guess back in 1989 they did a manga spin-off, and it was quite successful, and then it turned into an anime series, 41 episodes they had in 3 movies. And today it's Dragon Quest Day today as of recording, May 27th. So Square Enix actually announced 3 games. One's a mobile game, so we're not too worried about it. Yeah, that's right. The second one is actually in arcades. It's a card battle game. So I'm assuming that we're not going to really see it on in the West.
Doesn't seem like it'll be making the jump over here.
No. So yeah, the third one, the one that we're excited about, and the one that we're going to see is The Adventures. And it's an action RPG, and it looks like it's got that anime look to it. So we don't really have any details of it. They just showed us a minute trailer and showed the main character and presumably the villain. And they said 2021, and it's for consoles. So what that means for if it's new gen or old gen. I'm sure it'll be playable on both PS4 and PS5, and whether it's on Switch or not, I guess remains to be seen. But it looks like a pretty neat action RPG.
Yeah, well, 1989, that was the year I was born. That's when this manga spin-off began. Yeah, it definitely has strong vibes. I mean, obviously Dragon Quest and like Dragon Ball Z sort of, obviously visually are similar looking, but how this trailer was presented with like them battling in the air and like, it definitely had those vibes. Obviously, I mean, I haven't seen the anime. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you haven't seen it either. But I wonder how similar it does play out to maybe a Dragon Ball Z in style and combat and stuff. Obviously, like I said, we know the visuals are similar, but it would be interesting to see how the actual episodes and stuff sort of play out. So, but yeah, I mean, hey, I will never be upset with a new Dragon Quest game. So, the more the merrier, I always say.
No, exactly. Looking forward to it.
Boom. All right, now I believe we're gonna move into a little lightning round new games releases here, and I believe you're gonna kick it off with a little game. You've been playing this game, right?
No, I think I've been thinking about picking it up. It's a bit of an odd one. It's called Maneater. This is on all platforms. Well, everything but Switch anyway. And this is Maneater. It's the game. It's the self-proclaimed shark PG. So it's you're basically living the life of a shark. So you grow up and you become big and you're eating stuff, and like the trailer's wild. Like it shows the shark jumping out of the water and grabbing people from boats and exploding stuff, and then it gets so crazy that it gets to the point where there's like an evolution, and the shark is like this cybernetic wild looking thing and then the trailer I saw ends with the shark actually chasing people on a golf course. So it's it looks pretty wild, and it's the early discussion is that the gameplay, it's unique and entertaining, but I guess it's struggling a bit with some performance issues, but it's a game that looks pretty interesting to try out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if the like final upgraded move you get is some sort of Sharknado move.
It'd be a missed opportunity if they didn't.
Yeah, so come on, guys.
Yep.
Next up, though, we got a game that I was not hyped on at all, but actually I did watch some gameplay the other day, and that is of Minecraft Dungeons. This one's out for all platforms, Switch included, and this is a Diablo-like hack-and-slash RPG, except obviously set in the Minecraft world. It released this past Tuesday with a bit of a lukewarm response, currently sitting about a little bit below 80% on Metacritic. So, the title is being applauded for its aesthetics and its streamlined approach to dungeon crawling, while many are criticizing it for the lack of variety and content. Like I said, I probably watched maybe 20 minutes or so, and I would definitely say the aesthetic, like, it is the best looking Minecraft game I've ever seen. Like, visually, like, it still obviously is, it's got, like, the blocks and everything, you see Minecraft, but it just has a different level of polish on it, or, attention to detail, and it just looks really nice. I talked to someone who played it, they said, like, it seems like a really, really great sort of intro to maybe younger players to a different style of game, like the hack and slash, the loot game, you know what I mean? They were saying it was a nice entry point for people like that, people who have maybe only played Minecraft. So I think it is cool that they're branching off and bringing the franchise into different avenues, and it's probably a smart thing to do given how large the fan base is.
Yeah, and I'm guessing if it's successful that there would have to be DLC or something to add to the content. So it may be a little lacking in the content now, but maybe down the road. And it's a cheaper game. I think it's only like $20. So
$20.
Yeah, so we could see some DLC down the road and add to that.
Boom.
And the next game up on the list is one that I did get a chance to play, and that's Thunder Force AC. This is one of the Sega Ages games from M2. Just released. I imagine it would just release as if you're watching this by the time this video comes out. And so yeah, this is on the Nintendo Switch. So fans of classic shoot 'em ups, they'll appreciate the work put into it by M2. They always do a great job on their Sega Ages game with a lot of variety and A lot of care that they put into it. There's different ways to view the game and play the game. There's the regular arcade style. There's also like a kids, they actually call it a kids version to help them get through the game, and save states and all the different ways that you can display and wallpapers and
Baby's first shoot 'em up.
That's right. Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty fun. 8 missions and a boss, and it doesn't take too long to get through it. But if you have nostalgia for that game or games of that type, then I think this would be a pretty fun game on the Switch.
A short game is a good game. Well, not necessarily, but a short game is a good thing in these days, especially with these crazy RPGs like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which is coming out May 28th, aka, if you're listening to this, you can pick that sucker up on the Switch. It's finally here, Definitive Edition of Xenoblade. It comes with updated character designs, new content in the form of an epilogue that can actually be played right away, so which is great. Obviously, if you've played the game before, you don't have to, I don't want to say slog through, but, it's an 80, 90, 100-hour game, so if you wanted to get to the new content, it would sort of be rough to have to play that huge chunk first, but just the visual upgrades, like the encyclopedia with all the different things located in the world. It's got a new facelift. It's beautiful. The game, one of my favorite games of all time. And if you've never played it, I mean, obviously I haven't played this one yet, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the definitive edition. I really do think this will probably be the best way to play it. It's going to look great. Fantastic game, and definitely worth checking out.
Sounds great.
Alrighty. Well, that's about all the time we have for this week on the Thirsty Mage. We hope you enjoyed the show and you will consider liking and subscribing to the channel. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram using the handle @TheThirstyMage. And if you're a fan of the RPG, genre, you can subscribe to our weekly podcast and listen to discussions about new and retro RPGs alike. So once again, David, thank you for joining me, and everyone, thank you again for watching, and we will see you next week.